Before the beat drops. Before the chorus hits. There's always something deeper hiding underneath. This channel isn't about music at face value. It's about the psychology behind it, the emotions, the fears, the illusions artists package into sound. Here, we don't just listen to songs. We dissect them. Frame by frame. Emotion by emotion. No sugarcoating. No surface-level praise. Just the raw meaning behind the music you thought you understood. If you're ready to hear songs differently, let's begin. There is a specific kind of exhaustion that comes from loving someone who has forgotten how to love themselves. It is not the exhaustion of effort or the exhaustion of time. It is deeper than that. It is the exhaustion of watching someone drown while you stand on the shore with a rope in your hand, and they keep swimming further out because they have convinced themselves they belong in the deep end. You know this feeling. You have lived it. You have stood in kitchens and bedrooms and parked cars with your heart in your throat, watching someone you love disappear in slow motion, and no matter what you say, no matter what you do, they keep slipping through your fingers. Not because they want to hurt you. Not because they do not care. But because somewhere along the way, they learned that being loved is dangerous. That letting someone in means letting someone see. And being seen is the most terrifying thing in the world. In 2016, a song arrived that sounded like summer. It had a beat you could dance to and a hook you could shout and a feature from an artist who had spent years being turned into a punchline. It went on playlists and radio rotations and became the background music for moments that deserved better soundtracks. But underneath all of that, underneath the production and the polish and the pop perfection, there was something else entirely. There was a psychological portrait of one of the most common and least discussed dynamics in human relationships, the dynamic between someone who is drowning and someone who is desperate to save them. The person being sung to in this song is not a villain. This is important to understand from the beginning. They are not cruel. They are not malicious. They are not trying to hurt anyone. They are simply trying to survive, and survival for them has always meant keeping people at arm's length. They have learned, through experience, that closeness leads to pain. That vulnerability leads to betrayal. That the people who say they love you are the same people who will eventually leave, and it is better to leave first, better to push them away before they can push you, better to drown alone than to watch someone swim away. This is not logic. This is not a choice. This is a survival mechanism that has become so automatic, so deeply ingrained, that they do not even recognize it anymore. They do not see themselves pushing people away. They see themselves protecting themselves. They do not see the walls they have built. They see the safety those walls provide. And the person trying to love them? The person standing on the shore with the rope? That person is not a rescuer. That person is a threat. Because love, to someone who has been wounded this way, is not a gift. It is an expectation. It is a demand. It is a promise that will eventually be broken, and they would rather break it themselves first. The narrator of this song understands this on some level. They have to. Because if they did not, they would have left long ago. Anyone would have. The constant rejection, the emotional whiplash, the feeling of loving someone who seems determined to make themselves unlovable, it is exhausting in ways that defy description. But the narrator stays. Not because they are naive. Not because they think they can fix someone. But because they see something the other person cannot see, they see the wound beneath the armor. This is the psychological farming that the song cultivates without ever naming it directly. The narrator is not singing about romance. They are singing about attachment theory. They are singing about anxious avoidant dynamics. They are singing about the way childhood wounds show up in adult relationships, the way we recreate the dynamics we learned before we had words for them, the way we keep choosing people who cannot choose us back because somewhere deep down, we do not believe we deserve to be chosen. The person being sung to is an avoidant. They have learned that independence is safety, that needing people is weakness, that the only person you can really count on is yourself. Every time the narrator gets close, they pull away. Every time the narrator reaches out, they retreat further. Not because they do not want connection, but because connection terrifies them. Connection means vulnerability. Vulnerability means the possibility of being hurt. And they have been hurt enough for one lifetime. The narrator, by contrast, is anxious. They are the ones doing the reaching. They are the ones standing on the shore with the rope. They are the ones who cannot understand why love is not enough, why their devotion is not enough, why they keep showing up and the other person keeps leaving. They are caught in a cycle that has no logical exit. The more the avoidant pulls away, the more the anxious reaches out. The more the anxious reaches out, the more the avoidant pulls away. It is a dance as old as human attachment itself, and it ends the same way every time, with both people exhausted, both people confused, both people wondering why love has to hurt this much. There is a moment in the song where language breaks down entirely. Where the words stop meaning anything and all that is left is sound. On the surface, this sounds like a production choice, a way to make the hook catchier, a bit of musical filler. But psychologically, it is something else entirely. It is the sound of someone who has run out of words. Someone who has said everything they can think to say, pleaded every way they know how to plead, and still the person they love is slipping away. What do you do when words fail? When "I love you" has been said 1,000 times and it still is not enough? When every argument has been made, every case has been presented, and the jury is still not convinced? You fall back on sound. On melody. On the things that exist before language and after language dies. You make noise because noise is all that is left. You sing nonsense because sense has failed you. You stop trying to explain and start trying to be heard, and you hope that somehow, through the static, through the distance, through the walls the other person has built, they will hear you anyway. This is the psychological reality of loving someone who cannot love themselves. You run out of words. You run out of arguments. You run out of reasons. And all that is left is a sound, a plea, a noise that means nothing and everything at the same time. Please. Just please. Let me. The imagery of falling asleep at the wheel is one of the most psychologically precise moments in the song. It captures something that most people who have never been in this dynamic cannot understand, the terror of watching someone you love check out in real time. Not all at once. Not dramatically. Slowly. Incrementally. The way eyelids get heavy on a long drive. The way the road starts to blur. The way you can feel yourself losing consciousness and there is nothing you can do to stop it. This is what depression looks like from the outside. This is what addiction looks like from the outside. This is what trauma looks like from the outside. The person you love is still there, technically. They are still breathing, still moving, still going through the motions of being alive. But something behind their eyes is gone. Something essential has checked out. And you are sitting in the passenger seat, watching them drift toward oncoming traffic, and you cannot grab the wheel because you are not the one driving. The song captures the paradox of this situation perfectly. The person who is falling asleep cannot be woken by someone else. They have to wake themselves. They have to realize that they are drifting, that they are in danger, that if they do not open their eyes soon, everyone is going to crash. But they cannot. Because falling asleep at the wheel, in this context, is not a choice. It is a symptom. It is what happens when you have been running on empty for so long that empty starts to feel normal. It is what happens when exhaustion becomes your baseline and you forget what it feels like to be awake. The narrator knows this. They know they cannot shake the other person awake. They know that no amount of screaming will make them open their eyes. But they scream anyway. Because what else can you do? What else can you do when someone you love is dying in slow motion and you cannot save them? You scream. You reach. You hold on. And you hope that somehow, some way, they hear you through the fog. There is a line in the song that redefines everything that comes before it. It is delivered quietly, almost as an afterthought, but it contains the entire psychological thesis of the piece. The idea that the thing we are all running from, pain, grief, loss, might actually be the only thing standing between us and peace. That heaven is not something you arrive at after suffering. That heaven is on the other side of suffering. That you have to go through it to get to it. For the person being sung to in this song, this is the most terrifying possibility of all. They have spent their entire life avoiding pain. Building walls. Numbing out. Keeping people at a distance so that no one can hurt them again. And now someone is telling them that the pain they have been running from is actually the only path forward. That all their avoidance, all their protection, all their careful management of distance and intimacy, it has not been keeping them safe. It has been keeping them trapped. This is the moment where love becomes something more than romance. It becomes therapy. It becomes intervention. It becomes the thing that forces you to confront what you have been running from, not because you want to, but because the alternative is losing someone who actually sees you. Someone who actually knows you. Someone who is standing in front of you, arms outstretched, saying, I know you are scared. I know you have been hurt. I know you have reasons for every wall you have ever built. But if you want to be with me, if you want to let me love you, you are going to have to walk through the fire. And I will walk with you. But I cannot carry you. And I cannot go around it. The fire is the only way. The music video complicates everything by introducing a layer of psychological distance that changes how we understand the entire song. The reveal that the characters we have been watching are not real, that they are avatars in a game, that the people controlling them are lonely and isolated and hiding from their own lives, it forces us to ask a question that the song alone does not answer. Who, exactly, is being sung to? Is it the beautiful criminals on the screen? Or is it the people hiding behind the screen? Is it the characters we play when we cannot face ourselves? Or is it the selves we are trying to escape? This is the psychology of dissociation made literal. The gamers in the video are not living their lives. They are playing lives. They are inhabiting characters who are more exciting, more dangerous, more alive than they feel capable of being. And in doing so, they are avoiding the one thing they need most, real connection. Real intimacy. Real love. The song plays over both realities because both realities are true. The person who needs to be loved is the person hiding behind the avatar. The person who needs to be seen is the person who cannot bear to be seen. The person who is drowning is the person who has constructed an entire digital world to avoid admitting they are in the water. And the narrator? The voice singing "Let Me Love You"? That voice is not just singing to the characters. It is singing to the players. It is singing through the screen. It is saying, I see you. I see the real you. The one in the dark room with the empty pizza boxes and the dead plants and the phone that never rings. I see you, and I am not leaving. But you have to take off the headset. You have to stop playing. You have to let me love the person underneath. There is no escaping the fact that the person singing this song was, at the time, living his own version of this dynamic in full public view. Justin Bieber in 2016 was not just a singer performing a song about being unloved. He was a young man who had been loved in the most distorted way possible, by millions of people who did not know him, who felt entitled to his pain, who consumed his breakdown like entertainment. He had been placed on a pedestal and then torn down from it, over and over, until he did not know which way was up. When he sings about not giving up, about letting someone love you, about the rude awakening required to know you are good enough, he is not just performing. He is processing. He is working through something in real time, on a global stage, with millions of people watching. He is the narrator and the subject. He is the one reaching and the one drowning. He is singing to someone else and to himself at the same time, and that duality is what gives the song its psychological weight. Because the truth is that most of us are both. Most of us have been the person reaching and the person pulling away. Most of us have stood on the shore with a rope and also swum further out into the deep. Most of us have wanted to be loved and been terrified of what love requires. The song captures this ambivalence without ever naming it directly. It lets us be both. It lets us feel both. And in doing so, it gives us permission to examine which one we are being right now. The psychological reality at the heart of this song is simple and devastating. You cannot save someone who does not want to be saved. You cannot love someone into loving themselves. You cannot stand on the shore forever, holding a rope, waiting for someone who has decided they belong in the water. But you try anyway. You try because love is not logical. You try because walking away feels like betrayal. You try because somewhere deep down, you believe that if you just try hard enough, love hard enough, stay long enough, something will finally break through. You try because the alternative, admitting that your love is not enough, is too painful to face. And sometimes, you keep trying until there is nothing left of you to give. Until you are standing on the shore, exhausted, empty, and you realize that you have been drowning too. Not in the same way. Not in the same water. But drowning nonetheless. Drowning in the effort of trying to save someone who will not save themselves. This is the unspoken truth of the song. The one that hides beneath the beat and the hook and the summer playlist placement. Love alone is not enough. Devotion alone is not enough. Showing up, over and over, is not enough if the other person will not meet you halfway. You cannot carry someone who will not walk. You cannot wake someone who will not open their eyes. You can only stand there, arms outstretched, and hope. And if they never take your hand? If they keep swimming further out? If they fall asleep at the wheel and take everyone down with them? You have to decide when the rope in your hand becomes an anchor. You have to decide when staying becomes drowning. You have to decide that your love, as infinite as it feels, has limits. That you are allowed to let go. That walking away is not the same as giving up. The song does not tell you this. It cannot. It is too busy reaching, too busy pleading, too busy doing what love does when it refuses to admit defeat. But the truth is there, underneath everything, waiting for you to hear it. The truth that sometimes the most loving thing you can do is stop trying to save someone. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is save yourself. If this song sounded different to you after this breakdown, that's the point. Music doesn't just entertain. It reveals. Sometimes it says things we feel but don't know how to articulate. And sometimes, it hides truths in plain sight. If you see music as more than sound, if you hear the psychology behind the production, the emotion behind the performance, then you're in the right place. Subscribe if you want more dissections like this. Where we don't just listen to songs, we decode them. Until the next track. Listen carefully.